Rachel, I so much enjoyed your presentation this week.
Thank you.
I'm really curious though, because you did a great job, I think, of outlining what your report does and the kinds of metrics that you're tracking, which is incredible because I feel like so many institutions haven't gotten to where you are in terms of the level of sophistication of their marketing. But I'm really curious about sort of the background story on it. Were there some things that you noticed at Ithaca? Were there some challenges with leadership? Just some, what sort of gave you the idea, okay, I need to be tracking this stuff and presenting it in a way that makes sense to non-marketers?
Mm-hmm.
What's the backstory?
So it was actually primarily two external forces, and then I'll talk a little bit about internal.
Okay.
The first external force was when I came to AMA, I think it was now 2 or 3 years ago, and Terry Lucy, who was then the CMO
Right.
at Purdue University,
Right.
gave an excellent presentation about dashboards and using this dashboard to track and your return on investment. And that was the buzz that year. That was like the session that everybody was talking about. And she was asked a million times, can we have your Excel file? Can we want to replicate it? And then Case started tackling it, ROI as a larger initiative, and so there was a lot of articles in Case Currents, and the Case Commission started tackling it. And so, I knew I was just getting ramped up. I was just getting into it. I think I was in my first, maybe going into second year at Ithaca College. We were just getting ready to launch our new branding initiative. We had never had an integrated marketing approach before at the college. So I knew that I wanted to be able to prove in some way that we were doing things effectively, and that we were getting strong results as a result of that. So that was the first thing, was Terry's presentation really got me thinking. The second thing was, as we are hearing so much about the affordability issue in higher ed, so many institutions, as they're trying to become more affordable, they're just cutting budgets to try to, lower the rate of tuition or
Right.
lower the rate of increase of tuition. And they're cutting budgets, and too often we've been hearing that marketing is the first place that gets cut. And we're not in that situation at Ithaca College, because I'm very fortunate that the administration very much values, appreciates, and understands marketing. But seeing that sense is out there really concerned me. And I think for my fellow colleagues as well as for myself, we need to be able to prove our existence and our worth, that we don't just make shiny things.
Right.
We
Right.
really have a lot. We play an enormous role, especially I've learned in the private sector, because I was at a public state institution for the first 15 years of my career. So switching to the private side, I've realized even more how critical it is to measure that. So those to me were the two critical things, colliding with the timing of launching our new brand identity and campaign in 2011. I decided a little over a year ago to create a new position to help me with metrics and measurement. So I created a position called a marketing analyst.
Right.
And she's been incredible in being able to get her hands on all kinds of data that's all over the college. I mean, we don't have any one single data source. We
Right.
get little pieces of data from all kinds of different places. So she and I have just kind of worked through that over the past year and a half of, what kinds of things I want to be tracking, and then she goes in a hunt for the data. And then in terms of sharing the results with non-marketers, that largely is internal for me. There's while a lot of people, at lots of institutions, not just mine, think everybody's a marketer. I think it's, we have a lot of buzzwords, and we have a lot of internal language that non-marketers don't really necessarily understand. What's a CTR? What's a CPM? What's SEO? What's SEM?
Right.
So
Right.
I wanted to be able to explain at first to my college-wide marketing advisory council. So that's a group of about 30 some odd people that represents the entire institution. Upper level administrators primarily, and we meet once or twice a semester, and we update them on our marketing initiatives and get their feedback and their ideas on certain aspects of things, bounce some new ideas off them and so forth. And so this is a group that I consider to be my brand champions, and I wanted to arm them with this information so that they could be our champions out of the rest of the college.
That's great.
So, and then it just kind of, this was the second time I did this report. I did the first one last September. I only shared it with that marketing advisory council, and then word started to spread that I had this report, and I started being invited to other areas. And this fall, we've made it a more concerted effort to get the word out that I have this report, and so I'm getting in front of a lot of different groups, including next month I'll be in front of our administrative assembly, which is all of the top level administrators across the entire college. So the president, his VPs, the deans, associate deans, assistant and associate vice president, so
That's great.
about 80 people across the campus.
Well, it was a great presentation and great work to share. and wonderful that you're tracking those kinds of results. So, which kind of leads me to my next question, and that is, you've been attending AMA conferences for several years, I'm sure. What keeps you coming back? And you're at a point in your career where you have a tremendous amount of experience and done a lot of successful work. Are you still inspired by what you see here? Are there things that are keeping you on your toes? What stands out for you as you think about attending this conference?
Yeah, the conference continues to grow every year, and especially hearing at the opening this year what the attendee size is up to. And I went to a small group of chief marketing officers got together yesterday, and to see that there's folks that are my peers and vice presidents at other institutions that are also coming. That's a whole separate track of individuals of we want to talk about high level strategy and college-wide related issues that are outside the scope of marketing communication specifically, but that we have a role in.
Yeah.
And so I'm finding those conversations incredibly valuable. But I love looking at all the sessions. It's totally information overload because there's so many going on at the same time. It's very hard to pick. But I always pick up some great nuggets to bring back to the team. And I love sharing that kind of information. So this is the first year in the last few years I haven't had anyone from my team come with me.
Okay.
They chose to go to other conferences this particular year because there's just so many conferences to choose from, and I like that there's a broad range. This isn't a niche. It's not just about websites, or it's not just about advertising. It's you really get marketing intelligence and the whole range.
Yeah. When I think back to the sessions that I've been to and the keynotes that I've heard over the last couple of days, I think you're the only person that I've heard mention things that you stopped doing. And I think higher education is not good at stopping things. We always want to take on more stuff, but we never make hard choices about what we don't do. And do you have any insights about that? Are there some real success stories that you can point to at Ithaca, or what allows you to feel like you can say to your leadership, okay, we're going to stop doing these 3 things because they don't have the same value that they had when we started doing them 3 years ago?
I have incredible support from above, from my vice president and the president. They've given me the opportunity to evaluate everything, and my vice president works very closely with me on evaluating a lot of different things. There was some advertising that was being done for a certain range of programs, and I don't want to get into the absolute specifics, but it was quite a bit of money that was being spent, and we had no data to support the fact that it was being effective in any way whatsoever. So we pulled that spend last year and ended up with the exact same results without that spend. So we're not afraid to make those kind of
and we've kind of come back full circle to where we started, and that is because you're tracking what you're tracking, and because you're presenting the kinds of reports that you're presenting, you have the information to help make those hard choices. And it's not about you and the other person, but about what the data is showing you. So that's incredible.
Thank you.
Well, enjoy the rest of the conference, and it was great to chat with you.
Thank you. You as well.